Boy, it's a good show tonight. Everybody is more talented than I am on the show tonight.
No.
I'm very jealous. My next guest stars as Mr. Bean, the highest-rated show on British television. He now has come out with a film version called Bean. This is the only film to make $100 million without even being in the United States. Made $100 million, and that's just on the island of Trinidad, all right? That shows you how hot this guy is. It'll be released November 7th. Please welcome Rowan Atkinson. Well, thanks for doing that bit with the Mini before. That was great fun.
Mon plaisir.
Mon plaisir, yes. No, you know...
My pleasure.
Yes. Now, I know you're a bit of a car fanatic.
Yes. I have a car-buying disease, almost as bad as yours.
Yes, it's a terrible disease.
But not quite as bad as yours. Yes, I like cars. I like quick cars in particular. I like cars that go more quickly than other cars.
Those would be...
That's the kind of car
quick car, that'd be the definition itself.
That'll be a quick car.
Do you do car commercials and things?
Well, I don't do car. I do credit card commercials actually more than anything. In fact, I did one. In fact, yes, in relation to cars, I did a credit card commercial in New York a few years ago, and it was a story in which I had to play a bungling British secret agent. And there's this beautiful woman gets out of a limo in the middle of New York, and he sees her. And this scene was when I had to look at her as if I'd just fallen in love with her. Right. And the director said, just imagine that you've just seen your wife for the first time. And my wife happened to be on set at the time. And she said, no, that won't work. Tell him to look at her as if she's his new Aston Martin.
Oh, well,
and then it'll work.
Oh, that'll work.
And she was right. In fact, it inspired me no end. I looked at her like no woman has ever been looked at.
Really? Can you give us that look? I'm curious.
Yeah. Can I do?
Look at the women melting. Look at that. It's just, oh. Very good. Now, there was a story in our tabloid papers here, and I don't know if it's true. I mean, you got some huge speeding ticket in England. Is this true?
Yeah, a huge speeding ticket. You mean...
No, not physically large, just a very high number.
Yeah, it was a very, I was doing 114 miles an hour in a...
School zone?
In an Aston Martin, in fact. No, it was on a highway, but it was still quite quick, and it was one of those things, I mean, as you know, if you work in television or movies, you sometimes wonder whether when you encounter a speed cop, whether he's going to recognize you, and whether that is going to ease the pain a little bit, whether he might conveniently just forget that there was any speed involved in your progress, and whether he'll pass over you, because he's a fan and an admirer. And so I was hoping this might be the case, but he was a very stern and British policeman. He made out the ticket, and he looked at me, and I thought, he's never seen me before in my life. He's never seen my face. I'm in for it here, and he made out the ticket, and he said, if you could just sign the ticket, please. And if you could just sign that for my daughter. There was this, so he knew, he was going to take full advantage of the situation, whereas I was hoping to take advantage of the situation.
Nothing.
And it was absolutely nothing. Very sad.
Explain the Mr. Bean character, perhaps, to those 3 or 4 Americans.
Well, he's an odd bloke, as we'd say. Yeah. He's a child, really. He's a child who's grown up physically, but not mentally. Yeah. So he's stuck at a sort of age around 9 or 10 mentally. If I ever want to know how Mr. Bean is going to behave in any given situation, I merely think about how a 10-year-old boy would behave. Right. And basically he would ignore the people and concentrate on the toys, on the switches, on the lamps, on the taps, on all that sort of thing. And Bean is very, very mechanical, as you saw there. He's always got a very mechanical solution to any problem. But he's got this schizophrenic, this very childish nature, which I find extremely funny. I mean, we British, we like childish humor. Yeah, and well, in fact, you like child. I mean, you like the toilet humor.
Well, the great thing about yours is, you do so much of it silent. It plays in any country. I mean, yes, people get it the way Jerry Lewis or Roberto Benigni or any of those guys. It all plays very well. Now, do you get ideas from real life and you just sort of go to scope things? And
yeah, I mean, I think, in fact, there was a story that I heard last weekend, which I didn't quite believe, but it was a true story, and a friend of mine told it. And talk about toilet humor, which we like a great deal, and which you like sometimes.
Nothing like a good toilet
and it was, and there's a bit of it in the Bean movie, actually, but not too much. But anyway, it was this story of a friend of mine who went to a party, a housewarming party. This house had just been built, and he'd been invited to it, and he was late. He'd stayed late at work, and he was rushing to this party. He arrived at the party and suddenly realized this is the ultimate toilet joke. But but don't retune, please. That he arrived at this party, and he said he was desperate to go to the toilet, and in quite a big way, he needed to go to the toilet. So he went, and he came, and he burst in the front door of the house, and there was a door by the front door, and he opened that door, and sure enough, it was a toilet, and there was a toilet, and he closed the door, and he locked it, and he sat down, and he relieved himself in the way that, you know, that he needed to relieve himself. And he felt much better for it, and then he realized that the house had not actually been quite completed. And that the toilet was not actually connected. There was no water going in, and there was no drainage coming out. And he'd left this significant calling card, you know, of his own. And he sat there, and then he realized that it wasn't, in fact, it wasn't, it was a little office. It was a little study that they just dropped the toilet. It wasn't supposed to be a toilet at all. And because it wasn't supposed to be a toilet, there was no toilet paper. And he was sort of thinking, what the hell am I going to do? And he rummaged around it in his briefcase, and he found some writing paper lying at the bottom of his briefcase, which is about the right size, you know. It's right, so he used the, you know, the writing paper as you would wish to use toilet paper, and then he suddenly realized that it was his headed note paper that he'd used. It had his name, Richard Steiner, written across the top, and he left the paper on top of what he left in the toilet. And it was this fantastic way that it was the least anonymous way you could have committed this heinous social crime. And he picked up his briefcase and he ran out of the house. And he didn't need to send a thank you letter because, you know...
Right, he left it.
In effect, he left his identity. But I thought, dear me, if this doesn't end up in a movie or a TV show, it would be very sad.
Now, we have a clip of the film?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, let's see.
Yes.
Just need to set up here. What's happening in this scene? Oh, that's great.
Yeah, Mr. Bean has been arrested for doing terrible things.
In Los Angeles?
To a fairground ride. He's in Los Angeles. He's been arrested, and this is what happens at the police station. Take a look.
He's a genius, huh?
That's what they tell me.
Well, it looks like a fruitcake to me.
Folks, it's very funny. The movie is called Bean. It comes out November 7th. Rowan, thank you very much. Rowan Atkinson will be right back with Aaron Neville right after this.